What's up, everyone? We got a really good, interesting, fun, adventure, amazing video. But first, we have a word from our sponsor. And our sponsor today is that zit on my fucking forehead. I feel like you and I, we're getting close, you know, romantically, perhaps? So this is gonna be the story of the day that I was run over by a car when I was 4 or 5. I don't remember exactly the year. Strap in, put on your seatbelts, and let's get into it. Let me set the mood first. So I lived kind of in a small town out in the countryside of Illinois. We had, like, you know, fairs, town fairs and whatnot. I'm sure a lot of people know what a town fair is, but in case you're not, basically, you know, in a park or some kind of community area, they would have something in the summer, usually a little fairground where, you know, small businesses could sell their goods. There'd be maybe some attractions and rides, and you can kind of get together and maybe have a picnic, and, you know, there'd be some slides and activities for the kids, right? And just a fun thing to go out. So we were going to this fair. It was me, my brother, my sister, and my mom. And so we were going to the park. You know, and being a young, independent 5-year-old as myself, you know, I thought I was a pretty cool person. I got the world figured out, you know. I aced my mathematics test where I learned 5 plus 2 English. I could spell words like because and about, you know. It was a big year for me, I must say. I wanted to, you know, do one of the big kid rides because I felt like I was big, or, like, you know, do a big kid activity. You know, there'd be stuff that you'd be like, oh, I wish I could do that, but I'm too young or whatnot. So I was kind of in the mindset that, like, you know, I want to do fun stuff. So when we were walking past all the cool little, like, vendors of, like, you know, someone selling their, like, strawberry jam or, like, homemade mustard, all those kind of things, there it was, my muse, the essence of every young child. It was the dart balloon game. Now, if you don't know what the dart balloon game is, let me really quick inform you. So this is a game where you would take a dart, and there'd be a bunch of boards, and there'd be different colored balloons filled with stuff. And you would throw it at it, and then it would pop, right? If you put the needle through it, and it would blow up a certain type of glitter. And a certain type of glitter aligned with a certain type of prize, you know? And there's different versions of this game. Maybe if you hit a certain balloon, you would get a different prize. But basically, it was color, popping, and prizes. What more could a young lad like myself could ever want? And I was memorized. There was a long line of, like, 3 people waiting for this, and I was just, like, stopped. My mom was next door looking at some homemade mustards, and I was just staring, big wide-eyed, drooling on my face, looking at these old kids playing. You know, in hindsight, they were probably like 15 or 13, you know, but I was like, wow, adults. And so I just wanted to play that game so badly, and I was like, mom, please, can I play? And she's like, no, you're too young for that, you know, those are dangerous darts, you know, you could hurt yourself, they're the metal tipped ones, you know. And I was like, please, mom, I aced my math test, dude, check this out. 5 minus 2, 3. That's very nice, Evan, but it still doesn't mean you can throw a dart. And I was like, come on, please. You know, and I even talked to the person, I'm like, please, can I just throw one? My mom won't let me. He's like, oh, sorry, little lad. And mom says what mom says. And I was just like, you know, fuck all you guys. But so she was still, you know, she was finishing up her mustard or whatnot, and I was just still watching it because I was like, whatever. I'm not going to be able to play it, so let me watch it. I turn around to, like, go walk with my parents, and then I don't see them. And then you know, instantly, you know, the big kid goes right out the window, and I start freaking out. And I'm like, what the hell? They left me. And then so I just ran the other way looking. I'm like, oh, they must have left. You know, looking back at it, there was just people blocking my mom's view. I freaked out and then ran off, basically. And then, you know, my mom very soon realized that I wasn't there, but we'll get back to that. But there I was, freaking out, running around like, where's my mom? You know, big kid out the window, right? And but I just recently learned that in school, you should always go back to your car, right? Your car is the safety place, because if the car's still there, that means your mom's still there, and or your family's still there, and they'll eventually go back to the car because they need to go home, right? And if the car's gone, then you're screwed, and then you're left in the big world. Even though, you know, it was only like a 5-10 minute drive away from your house, and you could probably walk home, but, like, you know, as a young kid, you're like, 5-10 minute drive could be the, you know, Alaska, you know? If she's gone, you're dead, and that's just the end of it. And now you're living out on the streets, and you're just gonna make, you know, that's your new life, and you just gotta get with it. I'll go back to the car. That's where she is. That's the car. Safety first, you know. Those DARE people taught me what's up. You know, they didn't just teach me not to do drugs. So now, meanwhile, my mom has realized that I am missing. She's freaking out. She's like looking around for me. She's like, oh my God. She's like dragging around these kids, looking all over for me. And so that's what she's doing at this point. So now me, the moment of truth, I get to the road and I'm like, wow, there it is. The car's still there. Okay, I'm gonna go to the car and then we're gonna be great. But there is only one problem. This massive 2-lane road was stopping me and getting to the car, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? And this is a little hazy, and I think it's because it's a little traumatic for my like 5-year-old brain. So I know exactly what happened, so I'm gonna try to piece it together as much as possible. But basically, what happened was I was looking back and forth. You know, it was a pretty trafficy day, but if I remember correctly, it wasn't that crazy. I don't know, and I was looking back and forth, waiting for my opportunity to cross, right? Because there was cars going. But I don't know how I messed it up so bad. But so I went into the street, and then I turned and I saw a car, and I panicked or something, and I turned around to go back, you know, back to safety, and I tripped or something, and all I remember was the car went over me, or not completely over me, but like over me, like my leg was all bloody after it was done, and so it rolled over my foot or my leg or something happened, and it was just very, you know, I don't know if you've ever broken a body part or had something really traumatic that your body goes into pure shock, but it's kind of just like a cloud kind of goes around you, your vision kind of narrows and tunnels into like just into like what immediately is happening. And so that kind of happened in that as already 5 years old, you know, that's almost 20 years ago now. So it's hard to kind of remember exactly what happened, but something happened. I turned around, I tripped, and I got run over by this car. And the car just kept on going. I don't even think it even knew it ran over a kid. But the fun, like, it just zoom, like, I don't know, scratches and cuts on my legs, but like nothing was broken, which is another weird thing. And I don't know if it's because like children's bones aren't fully developed and they're a little more flexible than like an adult bone when they're hardened, and that might have been like why I didn't break my leg or my foot when it rolled over me. But I just had like scars and like cuts all over my leg, but nothing was damaged. And it hurt to walk, but after a little bit, it was nothing long term. But like, I don't remember anything happening to the guy that hit me. I hope he knew or doesn't know that he hit a kid. But the funniest thing was an ambulance was right behind the car that hit me. Like, I'm not even joking. I run, I freak out, I turn around, I get hit, and then I look, I see the car drive away, and then I look behind and there's an ambulance. I'm like, oh, what are the odds? Probably just coming to the fair, or maybe someone saw a 5-year-old walking around and told the police or something. Super weird and funny that the ambulance happened to be right there. So they come, they pick me up, they put me in the back of the ambulance. They're like bandaging, making sure everything's okay, doing tests, like hitting my kneecap and like wrapping my leg up. And then my mom shows up, and then she's like, oh my God, she's crying. She's like, oh my God, are you okay? What happened? They're like, I'm fine. And then the officer's like, it looked like he was kind of got run over by a car, but he seems pretty fine. We were right behind it, like everything's great. So that was kind of my story. Now let's go back to my mom. So my mom's looking all over and stuff, and she's panicking, right? She's like, oh my God, my child's was kidnapped or dead, you know, worst case scenario, right? When you're a mother and your 3 or 5-year-old is gone missing. And then she goes up to these cops, right? She's like, oh God, please help me. Like, my child is missing. And these cops are like so nonchalant, like from her point of view, as when she told me this, you know, like years later or whatnot. She's just like, these cops are like, yeah, I mean, I think a kid got hit by a car up the way. He might be yours. And she's like, what? Are you serious? And like, yeah, they're up in the parking lot in the ambulance. And she's like freaking out. And then they're just like, it's just so funny. Like, they just didn't give a fuck. But so that's when she ran into the ambulance. She has my brother and my sister, and then we're all together. And she came in and back to where I was, and then, you know, everything was fine. We went home. Told my dad. I think he thought it was kind of funny. In hindsight, if nothing's wrong, right, it's like a funny story, right? I'm cracking up talking about it and whatnot. But this has always been like kind of like my icebreaker when I was in college. And tell me an interesting fact about yourself. I'd always be like, oh, when I was 4 or 5, I got run over by a car at a fair. And yeah, it wasn't full run over, and it was just my leg, but still, I mean, how many people can say they got run over by a car? But anyway, so I just want to quick do this little story time. Get to know me a little more, If you enjoyed, like and subscribe, share this video, If you have a funny little story, leave in the comments below about, a funny little thing that happened to you. See you next time. Peace.